Test, 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 test. Test, test, test. close to 8,000 likes. Guys, it's been a whirlwind. It's absolutely been a whirlwind, and it's been super interesting. What am I doing? Sparring again. Sparring is tomorrow. Tonight is late nights. Tonight is late nights. Tonight is the night where if you want your voice to be heard, Allison, if you want your voice to be heard, get in the box. Get in the box, Allison. I would love to hear what you think about where we are currently with this Trump administration. I think that a lot of people are really starting to find out how not great things are. And today, something interesting happened. There was an oversight hearing for Doge, right? There was an oversight hearing for Doge, and it was super interesting listening to different people from different sides actually speak on Doge. Rich, you said, am I pro or against Trump? How about this, Rich? You get in the box, and I'll actually I'll explain it. Request up, and I will explain, am I pro or against Trump? Guys, this is Late Nights with Santana, a panel discussion. Any and everyone is willing, is able to actually join the panel. As we get onto the panel, guys, please mute yourself. Mute yourself as you hit the panel, and then we will go from there. If you are interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and request up. If you are interested in joining the conversation, go ahead and request up, and we will get started. Again, this is Late Nights with Santana. Any and everyone is welcome. You are welcome to join if you're someone that supports Donald Trump. You are also welcome to join if you're someone that does not support Donald Trump. We are open to all people. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to run the panel and do a quick introduction. We're going to get a quick introduction in, and then we'll go ahead and get it started. And if you are interested in joining the panel, go ahead and do so. Vance, I'm going to start with you. Vance?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Vance, are you a Trump supporter, and what is your level of concern under this Trump administration on a scale of 1 through 10?
I am actually not a Trump supporter. I was actually just talking with my friend, and I didn't mean to join. I was liking the live, and I was explaining to him about your lives and how you debate everybody and all this. And I actually sent him over here to watch you. So,
well, tell your friend I said hello, but this is not sparring. These are not one-on-one debates. These are panel discussions where everyone gets the opportunity to speak. So
gotcha.
I am more than happy to actually have you here because, you know, I want you to actually be able to join the conversation if you are interested in staying. I would love to hear your opinion.
Oh, I'm just listening to you guys, enjoying the content that you put out. So that's why I was telling my friend about it.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
So, no, I'm willing to listen, and that's why I'm here every night listening to you talk.
All right. Perfect. Thank you so much, Vance. Give me 1 second. KP, how are you this evening, my friend?
I'm doing wonderful, Santana. How are you doing?
Good. KP, can you tell the people, are you a Trump supporter? And what is your level of concern on a scale 1 through 10 for the under this Trump administration?
I am not a Trump supporter, and I'd put it at about an 8.5 to a 9.
That's super high. Perfect. Thank you so much. Give me 1 second here. And last but not least, Bag the Boss Shad. Can I just call you Shad? Is that okay?
You can call me Bag, bro.
Bag. Okay, I'll call you Bag. Bag, are you a Trump supporter, and what is your level of concern under this Trump administration on a scale 1 through 10?
I am a Trump supporter. I would say probably a 3.5.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, guys, as we continue to have the conversation, if there are other people that are interested in joining the panel, you can definitely go ahead and request up. We have a couple of spaces left on the panel. If you are a Trump supporter, you are more than welcome to join the panel and actually share your voice. You will have an opportunity to speak. If you are not a Trump supporter and you want to actually join the panel and actually be able to speak, then go ahead and request up. Guys, in the meantime, in between time, just want to cover a couple of things with the people on the panel. While we are having these conversations, please be mindful. Please remember to use TikTok-friendly language. What does that mean? That means you using words like pew pew, unalive, mustache man, C19, schnotzy, all of those things that not only protect the live, but it protects your TikTok. Also, guys, this is a safe and friendly community. What does that mean? That means that we don't deal with any of the isms, racism, sexism, classism. We also don't do any of the phobias, homophobia, transphobia, none of that. We don't play that on the panel, nor in the comments. So if you are in the comments and you're participating in any of that, you will get muted and blocked. My mods do not play that. With that being said, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to go around the panel and start the conversation. And I actually want to give Bag. I want to give Bag the floor first. Because Bag is a Trump supporter, and Bag actually said, he has a moderate concern level. Not necessarily average, but at 3.5. Bag, I want to
Yes, sir.
start with you. I just want to get your feel. So it seems like overall you're in a positive place as far as where we are currently under this Trump administration. So could you tell me what has made you the happiest so far with what Donald Trump has done, and what has concerned you the most so far with what Trump has done?
The stuff that makes me the happiest is with the negotiations, and the tactics that he used to get certain stuff done. And on the world stage, with like AI, with having, certain countries invest $1 trillion, 500 billion dollars, and $300 billion into the United States, which, that's a pretty good thing because they're starting to build AI infrastructure in Texas where I stay.
Hmm.
It's already underway. So yeah, that's a good thing. There's more jobs for anybody.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Anytime that we can actually bring more jobs into the U.S., it's always going to be a positive thing. Okay, what concerns you the most so far?
What concerns me the most is it's not really that I'm more concerned. It's more of because I'm a supporter of Donald Trump. Donald Trump has to be very, very, very careful on what he does because, especially, only thing I really don't like about the guy is he's not politically. Um, he doesn't, the way he talks, his delivery isn't what everybody wants. So it's almost like when the police read you your Miranda rights,
Hmm.
whatever you say will be used against you in the court of law.
Mm,
That's kind of how everything has been used against him because in the month of December, inflation was at 2.9%.
hmm.
And they're making it a big deal, like the media is making that a big deal that it rose 0.1%.
Mm,
It
okay.
rose 0.1%, which we all know inflation goes up and down throughout any president ever. It
Hmm.
always goes up and down. And that it rose the least it can rise is 0.1.
Mm,
And they just threw confetti in the air and said, see, Trump ain't doing nothing,
okay.
you
All
know?
right. All right. Perfect. Perfect. Well, we will actually get into that in a moment, but give me 1 second here, Bag. Thank you for that. KP. KP. Um, I want to come to you for a second because Bag, he said something interesting, right? And he's taking the perspective that anytime that Trump does anything, he's going to be scrutinized. Do you feel that there's an unfair level of scrutiny on Donald Trump and his administration, or do you think that it's a watchful eye? Where do you land with the level of scrutiny on Trump?
Um, well, I would say that to a very, very, very minuscule degree, there is some over policing of Trump. I can understand what the right means when they say that
Mm-hmm.
because there are things that have been blown out of proportion in the past because of what Trump has said. And I say this as a staunch anti-Trump person. Um, but I think that is a result of all of the heinous things that he has done and said. And I think in a lot of cases it's justified.
Mm. Okay. All right. So you can see both. So okay. All right. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. Give me a second here. Vance, Vance, I want to hear from you because so you're not a Trump supporter, but you are someone that is set around my life, and so I'm assuming that you've learned a few things from someone that you've heard say something. What do you think? Do you think that Donald Trump is over scrutinized, or do you think that he deserves the level of scrutiny that he's received?
I think he brings it on himself. So he's done all this stupid stuff, and he should be penalized for it.
What do you mean?
Just with the grape and how he's running the country, with how he's trying to take over Canada, how he's trying to take over Mexico and
Mm-hmm.
trying to take over everything. He's going about it completely wrong. And
Mm.
listening to you guys, I'm like, okay, yeah, I understand now that I'm listening to you guys talk about it. It's like bringing a whole new light to everything. So it's like, okay, I respect this.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I can definitely understand that, and there's a lot to that, and I want to come back around to Bag, right? Because Bag, Vance said something that was super interesting. Um, I get what you're saying, and don't get me wrong. There is a hyper focus on Donald Trump and everything, every single thing that he does, right? But I would say that's a good thing, right? I would say that's a good thing just because I am a person that believes that we need to hold our public officials to the highest level, right? We need to scrutinize what our public figures do. We need to actually make sure they understand that they work for us, not the other way around. But I guess with that being said, it kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier, right? He has to watch his mouth, right? Because everything will be held against him. But Bag, what do you think about Trump saying things like Vance said, where he wants to take over Greenland, or he wants to take the Panama Canal, or he wants to take Gaza? He's openly and outwardly putting himself not only in a position where he's just putting his foot in his mouth, but turning allies away and actually putting the United States in a tough position.
Um, I think just because Donald Trump is who he is, the TV show he had, the what was it called?
The Apprentice.
The
Apprentice.
Apprentice,
Mm-hmm.
all of those things, he became like a public figure and he loved the limelight. And I can say in 2025 and really for a while now, bad publicity is good publicity. You get what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And so Trump knows this. But on the other hand, Trump says like, okay, we're going to take over. I want to take over Gaza. I want to build homes or whatever and do this and yada yada. And he knows people are going to like jump on him because if you really look at his demeanor, he don't care what you or I say about what he is doing.
Mm.
He'll take the good stuff, but the bad stuff he doesn't care. It's like it's nothing we can do if we want to do anything other than rely on our public officials
Mm-hmm.
to impeach him, or the second option, bear arms and literally go do a forceful revolution of power to overthrow the government. That's the only two
Mm.
options you got. And I can say the people ain't ready to do the latter because of the might of the military. And as much as people scrutinize Trump, they know he's not playing any games. He will use that force against you
Mm.
if you decide to go against, the grain. So when it comes to that, it's like what he says and what he does is two different things. Because when he said we're going to take over Gaza, people immediately said, "Oh, we're about to lose troops. We're about to. This is about to be Afghanistan all over again." But when he was asked, "Are you going to put any troops?" He said, "Oh God, no, no.
Okay. Wait.
Israel's
Wait.
going to watch that."
Wait. So let me ask you this question. So how? Because he's doubled down multiple times and said we're gonna take Gaza.
Yes.
He literally just said that today. Because someone said you're gonna buy Gaza. He said no, we're not gonna buy it. We're gonna take it. So how do you think that the United States would take Gaza without using force?
Okay. I don't know what the Israel military is called, but one thing I know about WAR because my grandfather served in it.
Mm-hmm.
When a country demolishes another country, it's like an unspoken word that is a conquered land. That's how look at what happened with Russia with Crimea. When they went over there and demolished that, they conquered it. It's theirs. Israel is our ally.
Mm-hmm.
If they conquer the land and they're saying, hey, you know what? For supplying us all these billions of dollars, weapons, we're gonna give you the land.
Wait.
We're gonna
So
give it to you.
so you think Israel conquered Palestine? I'm sorry, conquered Gaza.
For most definitely, they wiped out. They almost pretty much did what the Mustache Man did, and almost wiped out a whole group of people to where it's only 1.9 million of them left.
Hey, but you do understand that they weren't supposed to be fighting the people of Palestine.
Um, Unfortunately, this is where I say this is the world is a dirty place, and some people play in mud, and some people don't. You know, and when it comes to WAR, man, and fighting, bro, fighting is not fair. We know if you walk up to a man and slap him, if he pull out a pum pum and unalive you, it's not fair, brother. It's just not. And when those people from Gaza came over on October 7th and did what they did, they literally Hamas literally put those people at risk
But so
because
wait,
Hamas played a dirty
hold on,
game.
because yeah, you're now see now you finally said something right, which is it's conflating, right? So you finally said Hamas, right, which is
Yes,
different than the Palestinian people.
yes,
So do you think that Israel was justified with unaliving the Palestinian people?
yes. And tell you why. Is because the Palestinian people voted Hamas in as their leadership, just like this. Just like with if somebody came and conquered America, like as much as hey, I didn't vote for Trump. You're an American, and you're part of this
So you're a
establishment. We're
Zionist.
getting rid of you too.
Is that what you're saying?
You say what?
You're a Zionist.
I wouldn't believe that. I just know how the world works because as much as people, I remember when
But
Putin was
but
talking
it's like
about.
there's a difference between knowing how the world works and actually saying that you think there's justification for a G side.
This is why I'm just saying this is how the world works is because when Russia talked about sending or using the N word and messing everything up, and then you saw a lot of people take to social media and say, hey, I didn't vote for Trump. But the thing is, a thing about this is, as much as you don't like Trump, if a country comes over here and invades us, everybody is a target. It's not, they're not just gonna come after the right. Oh, you voted for Trump, oh, I'm gonna get you. You a Democrat? Yeah, I'm a Democrat, oh, I'm gonna leave you alone. No, sir, they're gonna get all of us because we are voters. This is our country, and if we go to WAR with another country, we are casualty to WAR. That's
Yeah,
just the
but
reality of it.
okay, so you're saying that the justification is in the capital. So I guess my question is because you said something. You said because of what happened on October the 7th, you felt like Israel should retaliate,
Yes.
right? What do you think about what happened on October the 5th?
What was that? You can explain it to me.
Okay. Actually, I'll just show you. I'll just show you.
Can I add something while you're pulling that up, Santana?
Sure, go right ahead.
Appreciate that. So, Bag, the problem with your logic is there have been actions taken by the IDF that are just strictly war crimes. Or I'm so sorry, Santana. WAR crimes. There's no other way to put what has been going on over there. And when you talk about things like them destroying, vendors, food vendors on the street, what does that progress the IDF's mission any further besides starving the children and women that are over there? Would be my question to you.
Now, if that was the case, the one thing I know about Gaza and Israel, they have been fighting over. It's a holy WAR. Has nothing to do with politics. It's a holy WAR. Both of those people deserve. Feel like they deserve that land as a whole because it falls into the Torah and the Quran or Islam faith. Because I've read both of them. The J people feel like they are the descendants of the ones that Jesus Christ promised the land to, and over there as well on the Islam side, Um, there's a person named Ishmael, and he had two Ishmael and Isaac. Isaac's supposed to be the Jewish the J people, and they supposed to went over there, and God, gave grace to them that was theirs, and they're the anointed people. But then in a different belief, Ishmael is supposed to be the rightful one, and so it's a holy war that's going on over there about the land, and it's been going on for a long time before this even happened. In the early 1900s, it goes on and on, and so this is not anything new. Both sides have got at both sides in very manipulative ways by starvation, WAR.
Well, just to be clear, because this is a lot of dangerous rhetoric that you're talking about, and then Santana, I'll let you. Sorry, I didn't mean to filibuster,
No,
but
you're okay.
you you're speaking to this from, you're saying both sides have done atrocities. Only one side has been annexed, and people haven't been allowed to leave, and people they control the electricity
And
and
the
medical
water and
supplies
the
coming,
food, and keep them
everything.
caged in a specific area and
Hmm.
justify unaliving these people because they're less than. Like, this isn't something new, and this isn't something that you can just simply say, oh, October the 7th. What does that say on the screen, back?
Israelis unalive 4 Palestinians in occupied West Bank confrontation.
Yeah, so on October the 5th, there were soldiers in the West Bank where they were not supposed to be, and they end up unaliving some Palestinians because they were in an area where they weren't supposed to actually be. The soldiers were not supposed to be in this area, and they took the lives of innocent Palestinians. That was on October the 5th, which prompted what happened on October the 7th. Now, so do you, I guess, using your logic, right? Because your logic was, well, Israel is justified with taking the lives of people because it's WAR and their casualties. Are you now saying that October the 7th was justified because Israeli troops unalived Palestinians 2 days earlier?
Due to the circumstances, we really don't know what happened. Yes, it's a
Oh
bad
no,
thing.
we know exactly what happened. They were
Well,
in the
we don't
area.
know all the circumstances. What laws they have over there,
Well,
what
we know
agreements
we
they
know that
came
the
to.
Israeli military was not supposed to be in the West Bank,
Yeah, but
but they were
hold
in
on.
the West Bank, and 4 Palestinians were unalived in the West Bank, where they is by Israeli troops who weren't supposed to be there.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's happened the other way around before as well. It's not. That's why I said this is something that's so complex and complicated that we can keep picking at the same scar and drawing blood. Like we can do that, but if we're going to get down to the whole situation, man, this has been going on for a long time. One side is going to win, but unfortunately, one of those sides is our ally, and they're winning, and they're America's ally. So are we like on the national stage going to be like, hey, we know this is going on. We're your ally. We're going to condemn you. One of our biggest
We
allies at that.
should, right? I mean, if listen, it doesn't matter that Israel is our quote unquote ally. They're taking innocent people's lives. They're
And that's happened on the other side as well.
but you categorize Hamas as a T group, right?
It is.
You that's what you said. Okay, cool, cool. Hold on one second. So it's a T group by what standards?
One thing I know because I've practiced Islam and
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of surahs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of justification for unaliving infidels, non-believers.
Mm-hmm.
Eradicate the infidels is in the Quran. So this right here, this rhetoric in the Quran creates extremism
Mm-hmm.
because it's interpreted by people who practice Islam in that area to say, you know what, since you don't believe and you think my prophet is a fake prophet, I will get rid of you. So that right there is very dangerous to the J people because they don't say, "Oh, your prophet is fake." So in the Torah, it does not cause for to say, "Yeah, unalive all the infidels." It don't say that in the Torah. It doesn't call for unaliving in the Torah. It literally calls you can protect yourself. Yeah, don't be stupid. Protect yourself. But it does in Islam. It calls for extremism. It can be interpreted by people in very extreme ways. I practice Islam. I promise you. People say jihad for anything. I can jihad against you for anything, sir.
Hmm.
Anything. You don't believe? Do you believe in Islam?
Oh, I mean, I'm not really
Yeah,
into
I can.
like,
Like, if I was an extremist, I could just be like, "Oh, you don't believe?
yeah.
Say you
I
believe
mean,
right
I
now,"
like
and then I
listen.
could just unalive you,
I
and it's
absolutely,
justified under my
I
religion.
absolutely hear what you're saying, but the simple fact of the matter is when you talk about, we can talk about religion, right? Because I understand that some people are willing to do extreme things for their religion, not just in the sense of, um, you know, Muslims, but like Christians, Jewish people, like period, right? There are a lot of people that will take their actual religion um, to the extreme. But what I'm saying is, we're talking about Israel. We're talking about a government, a government unaliving people, kids, children, and the rest of the world condemning Israel, right? The only people that have not condemned Israel are those Western allies. The rest of the world, they don't even categorize Hamas as a T group, and that's why I brought the question up. You see places like the United States, Canada, I think it's Great Britain. Like, yes, they consider Hamas as a T group, but not the rest of the world, because the rest of the world understands exactly what's happening. But then you have people like you and people who actually support Israel who are like, well, they're our allies, they're justified. There's no justification in taking innocent lives. There's no justification. I'm sorry. You can say, oh, it's a byproduct of war. There's no justification of taking innocent lives.
May I ask you a question? Who's Hamas funded by?
I'm not sure.
They were funded by what's that? How for to say Islam, Iran. They're funded by Iran. Who is Iran? That country designated a T country? Oh yes, it is. Oh yes, it is. So if they're funded by a T country, pretty much. Oh, they don't make them. We love to say it about Trump. You're guilty by association. He's for the billionaires because he's a billionaire.
But again, so you're using the justification of the government or the actual group for the actual G side of the people.
Unfortunately, in the Israel reported, this is why it was a lot of casualties of WAR is because Hamas, instead of fighting like a military group, they fought like cowards. What they did was they hid their tunnels under hospitals, schools, and did not force those people to be there and be like, Israel ain't gonna attack us if we have these kids here. And then if they do, it makes them look bad on the national stage while we continue to hit them and take hostages. I mean, I don't know if I can say that. Take people, and we can continue to do this. And then if they hit us, it makes them look like the bad guy. It was a very, it was a very tough call that Israel had to do to get rid of those people. Unfortunately, that's why I said when it comes to WAR, people who play in the mud get dirty.
So, but then your whole thought process is, again, you feel, because Donald Trump has literally come out and said things like, I want to take Greenland, I want to take Panama, I want to take this country, I want to take that country. Your thought process is, if someone comes here, right? Okay, your thought process is, if someone comes here and unalives millions and millions of Americans, is justified because of the government.
What I'm saying is this. I'm not saying if somebody came over here and unalived Americans, the only reason why I bring America into this is
No,
because
no, but I'm asking the question now. I mean, because again, so I'm trying to follow your actual logic because you threw out October the 7th, I threw out October the 5th. At first, you were saying that they were justified because of October the 7th. I gave you the information about October the 5th, and you wouldn't say that they were justified because of October the 5th. You danced around that, and now I'm saying, okay, using that same logic, if you're saying that the people of Palestine are justified, the unaliving the people of Palestine is justified by the fact that it's the government, because you're saying Hamas was the government and it's a casualty of war and blah blah blah. Wouldn't that same justification hold true for the United States?
only if Donald Trump was actually doing things like the mustache man actually did with it, which is
You mean
let's
like
just say
you mean like
let's just say
terrorist?
it
You mean like striking, dropping boom booms on other countries?
no no no
Like
no 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 no.
like
What I'm
a
saying is if if Donald Trump somehow, everybody's calling him the R word and he's prejudiced or whatever, and he
well, he's
says, you know
definitely
what?
racist.
Okay, let's just say, you know what? I'm going to authorize the military to eradicate all African Americans. And then once that happens, and say Africa wants to wage WAR on America, yes, is highly justified.
Wait, so then
Highly.
again, your logic is still flawed because did Hamas say that all Palestinians needed to be unalived?
No, I can show you a video on Twitter. It's a Twitter video
Yeah, I have no interest
from
in the Twitter
overseas.
video.
Well, it's from overseas.
And I still have no
And
interest in the
it's
Twitter
a
video.
Mickey Mouse TV show that they broadcast in Palestine that literally say unalive the J people. Unalive the J
Can I
people.
add
And they
something?
playing and in this
Oh my God, please stop lying.
I'll show it to you.
Please stop lying. No, no,
I'll
because
send
I'm
it
going
to
to
you.
tell you something. Did you know that Palestinians are also Jewish?
Here we
Did you
go.
know
That's
that?
that right there. That's the holy WAR I was just talking about, giving the history
No, no,
lesson.
no, 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 no.
Ishmael and Isaac.
Let me break this out. So I'm
Hold
going to
on for a
explain to you
second. Hold on
what
one
we're
second, Mac.
talking about.
I'm sorry. 1 second. Let me just because I know we kind of went left, and I let myself get way off track because I was actually taken aback. So let's do this because there's plenty of people on the panel. Let's do a quick introduction for the people on the panel, and then we will get right back into it. Guys, while we're doing this, keep tapping the screen. Why did he leave?
He ran. He ran because I was about to come at him with real facts.
Yeah, I wanted
And
to.
he didn't know that there are Palestinian, J people.
Yeah.
He didn't know that there are a lot of Arab J people. There are Persian J people. There are black J people.
Absolutely. That was the most insane thing that I've ever heard. Like, absolutely fucking maddening.
I'm not sure that he knows how Hamas came to power. You see, Israel had a problem with Yasser Arafat and the PLO, and they undermined them funding Hamas, and that's how they came into power. I think it was like 2009 or something. And then with some of that money and with the Iranians, they ran Gaza like a mafia. They set up hospitals and schools and all that to get people to like support them. Little did the people know that they couldn't rebel against them. Anything that they did. And then to complicate everything, you have open air prison. Where people are oppressed. Oppression leads to revolt. People aren't going to put up with it.
But that's exactly what we were saying. Like, KP and I said those very things. Literally, you're controlling whether people can come and go. You're controlling their food, their water, their electricity. You're keeping them, like you said, in an open air prison. Like you're in their area that you're not even supposed to be in. It's fucking
Yeah.
insane.
And then they even, the Israelis even complicated things because they would overreact to some incident. So, what do you think happens to a young boy, maybe 10 or 11, and his older brother gets sucked into the tea activities, right? And go over to Israel and set up something in a cafe, and then Israel comes over, bulldozes the whole house, unalives the mom and the uncle that's living there. What do you think happens to that young boy?
Hmm.
He becomes uh, um, likely to fall into extremism
Hmm.
because of what he
But
just
is it
witnessed.
extremism? But this is the thing. This is the part that I have a problem with. We can't call it extremism. We can't call it T-ism. Any person who is fighting for the just basic right to exist is not extreme.
I follow you. Yeah.
They're not being teased. They're fighting against an oppressive system. And we have to acknowledge something that people don't want to acknowledge.
Yes, I agree with you.
The Zionists that came to Palestine are white tea people from Europe.
Yeah, I mentioned
And
it.
what they established is a
Hmm.
racial hierarchy, a
Hmm.
racial apartheid.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And then they're upset because the people that they sat there and harmed are fighting back. That is not T-ism. That would be like calling the the people who fought against, in the, what is it? The American, like for Black Americans, when we fought for our civil rights, the civil
Hmm.
rights leaders, that would be like calling them T-isms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That would
yeah.
be like calling them, oh, they're extremists. No,
Hmm.
people have a right to effing exist.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
Hamas is not a bad thing if you think about it from the perspective of they have no other power. If you have removed a person's ability to fight back for real, face to face, we wouldn't call the Viet Cong teas. We wouldn't
Hmm.
call them, oh, they're extremists. No, the Viet Cong, yeah, they did guerrilla warfare, which means they didn't fight you straight on because they didn't have an exact army to be able to do the same things that they needed to do.
Hmm.
However, what they did was impactful.
Hmm.
So we have to give them grace where it stands,
Yeah.
Yeah,
No.
because
And
any
what?
person
and
fighting for their life.
right.
Hmm.
And that was my entire point to him as well. Like again, there he kept saying it was a T group, and I'm like, well, it's only in the United States and certain Western countries that they're considered a T group, like certain allies of Israel, where they're
Hmm.
considered a T group versus the rest of the world. They don't
Hmm.
categorize them as that. So, but I apologize, guys. We got way. We went down an insane rabbit hole because this guy was absolutely nuts. Um, so I guess let's level set. Let's take a whole step back. Let's get back on topic because that's not where we were going, and he took it somewhere. Guys, keep tapping the screen. We're only at 19,000 likes. Let's go ahead and get the likes up to 50,000 likes. Let's get the likes up to 50,000 likes. Let's get the shares up to 200 shares. Also, guys, we have our daily gift goal, which are the hot peppers. If we could, let's go ahead and knock out the hot peppers. That will help boost the live. And also, guys, we do have a nightly goal of $250. So Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, all of my pay links are in the link tree in the bio. Santana Speaks 24 is the best way to support the live. If you enjoy the information, education, entertainment, please consider donating. Everything is accepted. Anything is appreciated. So let's take a whole step back because I know a couple of people joined the panel while we were in the middle of the conversation, and you guys might not exactly know where the conversation is. So I'm going to steer it back on track. Is it? How do you say your username? Keger Sums? How do I say your username?
KGR. Hi,
KGR.
home.
Okay, KGR.
Hey, sweetheart. I've been gone. I know I've been gone for like a month.
Yeah.
I took a break.
Absolutely. KGR, so I have to ask you the questions. Are you a Trump supporter? And what is your level of concern under the Trump administration on a scale of 1 through 10?
Okay, so no, I'm definitely not a Trump supporter. I hope he unalives on his toilet. Um,
Like Elvis?
I Oh no, I want him to shit his life out. Like that is my dream. My concern is a 10 because he's a fascist. The stuff I've seen, because I'm in Northern Virginia, I'm right outside of DC. The shit that we've seen has been effing terrifying. The field that I work in, when he sat there and they shut down Medicaid and, Medicare, it really was both. They shut down the system for a day. Half of the people that are supported through the services that, the position I work in provides, their Medicaid numbers disappeared. People are losing their services, they're losing their livelihoods. And that is a fascist move. The fact that you have a white tea South African illegal immigrant who has taken up space inside of the Treasury Department, which anybody who has had a student loan, I just want you guys to go and check your credit report, because I found out these MFers were selling my information. And now I'm putting in a FERPA request. Like, I'm literally fighting back because I'm like, y'all sold my information without my permission. And you're sitting there going through my personal information. That is a problem, because that is what fascists do. Fascism only works when they do these quick burns.
Well, what's
And
interesting
we are
about
looking
that
at
as well,
social. We're looking at a civil war, though. I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to be facing a civil war probably by June.
Yeah, but what's interesting about what you said. I think that one thing that Elon Musk and Donald Trump and his allies are counting on is the slow pace of the United States government. Understanding that there's no speed in the United States government, there's also no speed in the legislative system either. And so the ability to actually do these things at a breakneck speed and grab information and access things that they shouldn't have before a judge can say stop, or before someone can respond, like they're counting on that. So I do think that's super interesting. All right. I'm gonna come back to you. Prettier or Pittier. Is that, how do you say Pittier? Are you a Trump supporter, and what is your concern under this current Trump administration on a scale of 1 through 10? Pittier? Prettier doodles world?
Pitter,
Is it Pitter?
you snoring.
Yeah. Darnell, are you a Trump
Hey.
supporter, and what is your concern under this current Trump administration on a scale of 1 through 10?
No, I'm not a Trump supporter. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm rocking about a 7 right now. And I'll tell you why. Although some of the federal judges have like stood up and said like, no, this is, no, you got to put a stop to this stuff, right? There's no real mechanism that exists that when the administration violates what the courts say, there's no real mechanism to punish him for it. That's what's scary to me.
Well, what's even worse, though, is they're saying that the courts have no jurisdiction. And
Well,
they have actually continued to do things even when the courts are saying stop. They are still moving forward. And I think that goes back to what I was saying earlier about the slow pace of the United States government, and understanding that they actually are counting on things happening so slow that they can do what they need to do before anyone catches on.
yeah, that's where it gets into them, them violating the orders and just doing stuff anyway. And then what's even worse is you have Republicans that know better and they're being quiet. There's only a few of them that's spoken up, and they're not getting the air time. You gotta like be watching, some of the hearings and the stuff that's going on. There's only been a couple Republicans that stood up and say, "Hey, this ain't right," or they realized, like, what's her name in Alabama? I can't think of her name. She just realized that they're possibly going to lose a hospital in this rural area because of cuts. And it's not until some of these things touch some of the MAGA people personally that they're going to wake up. And
Yeah.
that could be like what was said. It might be a summer before it start touching people personally. Money being cut off from nursing homes, and people have their grannies in nursing homes, and the nursing homes ain't getting the money, and now granny got to come back home, and ain't nobody to take care of her. It's going to take a while for that pain to hit.
Yeah.
No, it's not, because I'm going to tell you straight up, because SNAP is getting cut right now.
Oh yeah.
It's actually hitting the maggots, because again, I love how they think that black people are on these services. Black people make up less than 4% of people who receive social services, just so people know.
Yeah, well, the
We're less
thing
than
about that
4%.
though, KGR, is that you still have certain Trump supporters though who are unwilling to actually say, "Oh, it's because of Trump," right? And you see, I mean, I know there was a whole viral video of the farmer who was talking about, he was able to actually take advantage of a program, and now the funds have been frozen, and that he's going to lose his farm. But he still put no emphasis, no blame on Donald Trump or the Trump administration, even though he was able to get that government contract due to the Biden-Harris administration, and now the funds have stopped due to the Trump administration.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of push back a little bit. I think there might be a little bit of time before they actually are willing. It's such a sunken cost for them.
Is it sunk cost factor?
So I'm gonna tell you this. So I'm gonna be straight, because I'm a farm kid. I've told y'all that before. My family raises beef cattle. That's what we do. We don't actually rely on any government funding, so we don't have to worry about all this stuff. But I will tell you straight up, by mid-April, we're going to have food shortages. I already know this because some of my neighbors who do raise crops, do raise other types of food, they're already, because they don't have the type of migrant force that they normally need to do this, they're already ready to declare bankruptcy. So we're going to hit food shortages very soon. Chicken farmers are literally going out of business right now. And we're not going to have food. So once that actually hits and people don't have food, there's no food on the shelves, that's when they're going, oh my God. That's why they're already starting to beg black women to come fight with them. And we like, nah, y'all motherfuckers did this shit. Y'all can handle this shit by yourselves.
Yep. All right, 1 second. Kale, are you a Trump supporter, and what is your level of concern under this current Trump administration on a scale from 1 to 10? Kale?
Still muted.
I'm going to drop Kale down. Justin. Justin, are you a Trump supporter, and what is your level of concern on a scale from 1 to 10?
Nah, I'm not a Trump supporter at all. No, my concern is 11, 12, 15. And I'm going to tell you why. This guy's got total unchecked power in the United States of America now. There's nothing to stop him from doing anything he wants. He's got a Supreme Court that won't convict him if he commits any criminal offense. He's got the pardon power to pardon Elon Musk or anybody else who does something illegal, like they're doing now. The courts, the only way the courts can stop him is to get the U.S. Marshals to go in to enforce the order, but the Justice Department's got to order that. And Pam Bondi won't do that. They won't impeach him because Elon will say to any of these Republican senators or House members, if you vote to impeach, then I'll primary you in the next election. There's nothing to stop this guy. Absolutely nothing.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? A lot of people count on those normal checks and balances, but those normal checks and balances aren't in place, right? And that's the bigger issue that we're facing here today. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. No one's willing to actually hold him accountable But guys, I just got a message. I need to hit a quick restart. I need to hit a quick restart. So if you guys could come back, everybody that's watching is almost 200 of us hanging out. If you guys could just go to my page and check out my latest video. I'm talking about something really cool that I'm going to be doing starting Friday. So if you guys could just go to my page, watch that video for me real quick, and by the time the video is over, we should be back. So I'm just going to hit a quick restart and we will be good to go. So we will be Twitch is talking trash. They're like, get back. Twitch is like, get back over here. Twitch, okay, I'm back. I'm back, Twitch. I'm back. I am absolutely back. I am absolutely back, Twitch. We just had to do a quick restart. I am back. I'm sorry, Twitch. Twitch was giving me the business. Guys, if you are interested in joining the panel, go ahead and request up. As soon as we hit 8,000 likes, we will request up. And hey, guys, people over on Twitch, since, you guys are there, if you're interested in becoming a subscriber, we have some really cool emotes. You can actually become a subscriber over on Twitch, and you can also join our panel if you are, join our Discord if you are a subscriber on Twitch. So please go ahead and consider actually subscribing over on the Twitch side. Who do I see over on the Twitch side? I see US of Cheeky, I see Jan C74, I see JHV's Thickness 94. You guys got some wild names. HR Parkers, Move for Moves 877. All right, I see all of you guys. Hey, Alexa, stop. W's in the chat for Jan C74, who actually became a subscriber through Amazon Prime. Hey, Alexa, stop. Absolutely. Perfect. Guys, if you are interested in joining the panel, go ahead and request up. If you are someone that supports Donald Trump, go ahead and request up. If you are not a Trump supporter and you want to actually get on the panel, go ahead and request up. We are taking all people, guys. This is Late Nights with Santana, and you have the ability to make your voice heard no matter if you are a Trump supporter or not. You have the ability to make your voice heard, so I want you to take the opportunity to do just that. We're going to go ahead and do some quick introductions. We're going to go around the horn, but we're going to actually start with the people who were not on the panel before. So let's get the introduction of the people that were not on the panel before. Evan, are you a Trump supporter? And what is your level of concern under this current administration on a scale from 1 to 10?
I am a Harris supporter, and I'd probably put it at an 8 or a 9 at this point.
Okay.
I'm very concerned. Yes.
Okay. All right. Perfect. And I always mess up your username. H. Rutger. There we go.
It's just H. Rutger. Sorry. I'm like one of those weirdos who use my real name. I'm just in Florida, but a Democrat, and I'm really aghast. And I've been calling my legislators every single day. So I'm looking for tips on what else I can be doing, but I'm happy to always chat with you guys here.
Absolutely. Perfect. All right, guys. So KP, Justin, Darnell, welcome back. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And again, if you are interested in joining the panel, go ahead and request up. If you are interested in joining the panel, go ahead and request up. I want to actually start with Evan. Evan, I want to start with you. So, Evan, there's a lot going on, right? We have issues with Doge. We have issues with tariffs. We have issues with Gaza. We have issues with the Justice Department. Which topic would you like to start on?
I'd love to talk about the funding freeze and Trump's, violation of court orders, and the executive branch's violation of court orders. Because I'm very concerned by many things, but that's probably my number one biggest fear.
Go for it.
Sure. So the funding freeze was implemented, and it was challenged in court by Trump, or it was challenged in court by Democrats, and it was found to be unconstitutional, and there was a delay put on it. Despite the delay, the executive branch, they continued to sort of covertly defy the court orders. They continued, there were many reports from credible sources that there was a lack of funding for like Head Start programs, SNAP, many different healthcare, many individual states were unable to access funding. And then recently, I'm sure everyone's aware of this. This was like a few days ago. The court came out and they directly said that the administration had failed to comply with the court order. So, there you go. That is definitionally authoritarianism by definition. And then recently, people like J.D. Vance and Elon Musk and many people on the right have came out and they've tried to justify this. They've tried to justify defying the Supreme Court. And, this isn't even, in my opinion, this isn't even about, I totally disagree with the funding freeze, but it's not even about the funding freeze. It's about the fact that they're just denying the Constitution and denying the separation of powers and what their role is. right? If they have such an issue with the judicial here, if they have such an issue with the decision, then appeal it, bring it up to the Supreme Court, right? Like, there's nothing wrong with that if they have an issue with the ruling that the federal judge gave. But they're just, at this point, advocating for outright defiance of the Supreme Court, of the court. And my biggest fear is that it is going to go up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court will rule in favor of the states and rule against the Republican Party and the administration. And then from there, I mean, I'm really not sure what's going to happen, but my fear would be that they would defy the Supreme Court, and then from there, things could get really bad. So,
Yeah, no, I absolutely, I hear you. You know, and maybe it's just me holding out hope for hope. I would hope the Supreme Court would have some type of standing where they wouldn't be willing to just acquiesce the way that they would. I think that there's a couple of justices that maybe would, but I don't know. I think that I think this time is going to make for some strange bedfellows, just like Mitch McConnell voting against Tulsi Gabbard, right? I mean, it didn't help overall, but I mean, it's still like a few of those people who hold on to what the Republican Party used to be and all this other stuff, and there might be some simile of not wanting to quote unquote go back. H. Rucker, I want to come to you. I actually kind of want to stay on that topic for a moment because J.D. Vance came out and explicitly said that the courts have no authority over the executive branch, and I think they're going to really lean into that whole thought process of not being able to dictate to them. What do you think about that?
It's terrifying. I think that it's hard to, some people say, pick the most terrifying thing the administration's doing, but I think that's right up there as one of the very top ones, and I 100% agree with what Evan said. And I was trying to read some coverage on what happens if the Trump administration disregards a court's decision. And the coverage I saw, it was from CNN or something, but it was pretty weak. It was they could be held in contempt of court and maybe even criminal contempt, but what would happen? They would just get fined or something. And what if they didn't even pay the fines? I'm not sure if I understood the process, but nothing I read so far suggested that there's a mechanism to say no. And the one maybe potential, I don't know, light in that darkness is that I did see that it would some people think it would be sort of politically suicidal to be that insane, but I can't trust that because I thought I knew what political behavior was acceptable in America, and I was completely wrong after this election. That people are doing things that I thought I'd never see in my lifetime. So I'm terrified of that, actually.
Would you mind if I jump in, Santana?
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so the reality is of what can actually be done to prevent the executive branch from doing this is there really isn't much. So, I mean, the executive branch, it is their role to enforce the law. I mean, Congress has no power to enforce anything. Neither does the judicial branch. Basically, these two branches, the enforcement of their decisions is at the will of the executive branch. So the second the executive branch comes out and they say, we're not going to enforce your decision, that's a constitutional crisis and all bets are off. And then I think, it could go down a really awful path if something like that were to continue, if they continue to centralize power and defy the other branches. You could see even individual states start to rise up and defy the executive branch. And then I'm not saying this is going to happen. I think it's unlikely, but it's possible it could even result in the dissolvement of the United States as a country.
No, listen, I've been saying this for weeks now, right? Because again, it's interesting how a lot of people don't understand how fragile democracy is, right? It's super fragile, and the premise of us being able to continue as a country is based off of so many norms that have been accepted, so many things that we've done for so long that people are like, okay, that's how this is supposed to happen. And Donald Trump tested the water in 2021 with not only not accepting the election results, but not having a peaceful transfer of power, right? That's something that we've always had in the United States, a peaceful transfer of power. And he tested the water to see what would happen if he didn't have a peaceful transfer of power. And the answer is the people still accepted him and they welcomed him back into the White House. So if he understands that these norms have been broken, and now you have other people around him who understand the norms have been broken and there's no type of repercussions, they're going to continue to do it. I mean, because to that point, there's nothing in place to stop them. Justin, I want to come to you. What do you think about the topic? I mean, are we off base, or like where do you stand on this?
No, I think y'all got it right on. There was nothing to stop this man. We had this conversation earlier before you had to step away and come back. And the reality is, to the woman in Florida there now. What can anybody do? He defies a court. All the court can do is call up the marshals. The marshals work for the U.S. Justice Department. U.S. Justice Department is headed by Pam Bondi, your fellow Floridian. She's Trump's lackey. She's not going to order the marshals in. Therefore, you got a guy that doesn't, not only does he not observe norms, he also doesn't observe law. So now you got a complete power grab here. You've got the president who has been already deemed immune to prosecution by the Supreme Court. I don't know how much it's going to take us to wake up to the fact that this is gone. This democracy is gone. It's 3 weeks into this thing, and he's defying courts already. There's no way that he's going to obey anybody. J.D. Vance said it too. Mm-hmm. It's there's no way to stop this. So the question becomes, why isn't every media outlet talking about this? And in this group, what can be done? I hear everyone say the states are going to rise up, but they don't have their individual military, because guess what? He controls the military too. Mm-hmm. And when you got military, judges, legislatures, everybody working for you, there's nothing to stop you from being king. Yeah. Other than people rising up in the streets.
Can I ask
violently?
Can I ask a question?
Sure,
go ahead.
Do you think that the media are underplaying the seriousness of the situation because they're trying to preserve a sense of norms? Do you think there's any strategy in what they're doing, or do you think that, well, I don't know why they're doing it. I feel like they aren't sounding the alarm enough, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's in the sense of preserving any norms. I think that the actual media, well, one, legacy media has failed us for a long time. Right? I mean, they sane-washed Trump and sane-washed him so much that people were willing to forget that, a million plus Americans unalived under Trump and C-19. They were willing to forget that, Donald Trump wanted to actually pew protesters in the leg. They forget that Donald Trump, withheld FEMA aid from California because he said, well, they didn't vote for him. Like, they sane-washed the stuff that Donald Trump did. And even more than that, they've all bent the knee. Like, legacy media has bent the knee, and they understand and they're willing to accept the things that Trump does, and they're not going to hold him accountable. So I don't know if it's a situation where they're trying to downplay it, right? I think the Biden administration did. I absolutely think the Biden administration tried to downplay what was happening with Donald Trump, and that attributed to it. Mayor Garlick, I say this all the time, Mayor Garlick was the worst. He was absolutely the worst, from his slow tempo to him, not actually fulfilling the duties of what he was supposed to do. There's been a lot of people who have been afraid, and they want to preserve what this is or was or whatever. They want to preserve like this quote unquote form of democracy, and they're unwilling to say the things. They're unwilling to do the things. But then they're also trying to preserve their kind of hold on power, because you see people in the Democratic Party who are unwilling to get out of the way of people like AOC, get out of the way of people like Jasmine Crockett, get out of the way of people like Maxwell Frost. and like Nancy Pelosi wants to continue to hold on to power. Chuck Schumer wants to continue to hold on to power. It's a whole thing.
I'd like to.
Yeah,
Can I just?
KP?
yeah, they need to make room for the
I
young
just wanted to
progressive.
add to that. It's extremely detrimental in the aspect of AOC doesn't have the baggage that a lot of these people who would be good candidates, like, in my opinion, Gavin Newsom would be a good candidate. In my opinion, Josh Shapiro would be a good candidate, or Pete Buttigieg. But they all have their issues as to why, like Gavin Newsom's associated with California. Pete Buttigieg is, he's gay, and that won't resonate with a lot of voters, unfortunately. And Josh Shapiro, I mean, maybe he could win something. But the thing with AOC is there were Republicans, as you probably all know, saw on AOC's page, that voted for her and for Trump on their ballot. And they are willing to, I think, look at her because she doesn't have she doesn't have stocks. Her net worth isn't $25 million or $50 million like that. I think that she would be a good populist candidate and could, get a lot of Republican votes, but the Democrats aren't willing to set aside, like you said, their power, and it's disgusting to watch.
Yeah.
KP,
I-
what makes you think there's going to be an election in 4 years?
That's a whole nother story. I try to just be optimistic and gaslight myself, I guess, that even though they're not upholding any of the other norms, that they're going to uphold that norm. But I guess time will tell, right?
Yep.
He already said you'll never have to vote again.
He did.
He already said that.
Darnell, you wanted to add something?
Yeah, I think you guys just kind of said what I had on my mind. We're like witnessing the unaliving of our democracy.
Yeah.
I read an article today on Politico. It was like an opinion piece. Like they think that a progressive would be like really well suited to run in 2028.
Yeah, I mean the Dems need to put their young progressives.
Like the thing that I actually believe is, sorry to cut you off, the thing I believe that should happen is, I mean, there's like on both sides of the aisle, there's always interference in the primaries. They always push ahead one candidate. We saw that in 2016. I think they should just let the voter base decide who they want to elect with minimal interference, right? Because, everybody says now, I mean, if Bernie had ran in 2016 against Trump, he likely would have won.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching some of the hearings and things, and Jasmine Crockett and AOC and Jared Moskowitz, they've been cooking Republicans.
Oh, Jasmine Crockett was on fire today. Did you see her?
Yes.
She was on fire.
She's a great communicator.
She's
Great.
a lawyer, as she stated.
She's a lawyer. And she said, they're like lawyers on this side.
Yeah.
We know the law.
It's time to wake up. There ain't no guarantee we're going to even have an election in 4 years. Come on, let's be serious. I mean, he's breaking every rule, every law now.
Listen, so this is the one thing that I will say, right? Because I mean, honestly, I tried to sound the alarms prior to the election, right? But I will say that democracy is fragile, and I've said this over and over and over. If we lose our democracy, then we deserve it. I think that there's a ray of hope. I do, and again, I said this before the actual Donald Trump took power. I think there are few more Republicans, and the problem is there's not enough Republicans, but there's a few more Republicans that still have the will and ability to stand up. There's a few of them that are on their way out the door, like a Mitch McConnell, who can push back as much as possible. But then again, it goes back to like how much norms are being broke. And so I said this earlier, and I kind of want to hear, I know I talked to a couple of people about this, but I want to hear more from everybody about this. It kind of goes back to my thoughts with Doge, right? The problem that I have is that the United States government and also the the court systems, they all move so slow. They move absolutely slow, so slow. Um, but you have people like Elon Musk, you have people like Doge who are coming in and they're breaking things as quickly as possible and doing things before anyone can actually respond. So I guess I'll start with H. Rucker. H. Rucker,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on Doge and how they're moving throughout the United States government, and how even more so they're trying to be justified? There are a lot of Republicans that are still trying to justify it, what Doge is doing.
I don't have an answer for it. I think it's one of the most frightening things about it is that they're fast and the government's slow, and it's almost like it makes me think of, do you know, like when people first got to the Galapagos Islands and none of the animals had seen people before and they weren't afraid, and then it was easy to kill them. I think it's
Unalive.
the oh, I'm so sorry, unalive them. The government has not seen something like that targeting it before and is vulnerable to it because it's exactly what you said. I don't know that there's a way to quickly speed up the processes that resist it. And so my thoughts tend to turn elsewhere on what we should do.
Okay. Dwayne, what's going on? I don't think Dwayne knows that he's up here. I think
Nope.
Dwayne, you didn't realize you were up on the panel, did you? Dwayne?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so cool. Dwayne, what do you think about Doge and the speed that they're doing things versus the actual speed of the United States government?
I'm really not feeling none of it. But I get down. I'm just tapping.
No, you up here now. You gotta answer the question. Come on. You are up here. Tell me about it.
I don't do all the speaking. I just tap.
All right, I'll drop you down. Guys, W's in the chat for Dwayne. W's in the chat for Dwayne, one of the hardest working mods in the business. We love Dwayne so much. I knew he did not mean to come up here. Darnell, what are your thoughts on Doge and the breakneck speed that they're actually trying to move throughout the United States government, and then even more so the justification? Dwayne, have you ever seen someone stand in the Oval Office and take more questions than the President of the United States? Have you ever seen that?
That was nuts.
Okay, I didn't know if it was just me.
That was nuts.
And you know what? They get mad, or they wonder why I call him President Musk. They wonder why I call him President Musk. But I'm sorry. Go ahead, Darnell.
I mean, how much did he fund Trump? Like $250 million or something like that?
$290 million.
$290 million. You know, so it's kind of obvious that with that kind of money, Trump's beholden to him. He's just letting him do what he let him do whatever he wants to do. And this stuff about fraud, waste, and abuse, for instance. Yes, there's some fraud in government. The extent of it, we don't know. We do know the Pentagon's never passed audit. But that's the auditing of this money is something Congress is supposed to do. And you have this unelected bureaucrat, which they used to always decry. They used to always talk about, we got these unelected bureaucrats in the government, blah, blah, blah. And now you got this unelected bureaucrat in government wrecking shit.
Somebody on the Twitch side said that Trump's son, or said Elon Musk's son told Trump to hush. He did. He absolutely did.
Yeah, he did. It's I don't know. I do think as this pain sets in, there are 90 million people who didn't vote. And I don't think as the pain sets in, they're gonna be quiet.
Yep.
Which goes back to what someone said earlier about, unrest this year by the summer. And then it's like, what is he going to do in response to it? Is he going to declare, you know, what you call it?
Martial law.
Martial law.
My brain is martial law. Is he going to do that? You know, when people start marching and shouting and breaking
Wouldn't put it
stuff,
past him.
I don't.
Well,
I don't know.
again, so I think there's test cases for everything, right? There's absolutely test cases for everything, and I think his first term, when he proposed to the actual generals to pew pew protesters in the leg with the rubber bullet, like that was a
Mm-hmm.
thing. But even this term, him signing an executive order saying that if you are protesting, if you are on a student visa and you're protesting against Israel, then you can be deported. I think that's another test case, right?
Yes.
And I think he's setting the stage for multiple things.
Hey,
And what's
Santana, can I?
disturbing is like these, the MAGA followers. They're so caught up in their sunk cost fallacy, right? That and you can almost hear it sometimes in like various debates and different lives. You can kind of hear the cognitive dissonance setting off in their heads.
Mm-hmm.
They know it's wrong what's happening,
Mm-hmm.
but they're so caught up that they can't acknowledge it, or they refuse to.
Yeah. No
I've
doubt.
actually debated like MAGAs that'll actually admit that what he is doing is unconstitutional and admit that he is, starting the process of like centralizing power and authoritarianism, and they will justify that by saying it's a good thing, and that the ends justify the means, and it's just like they're I mean, either they just don't understand, or like I'm at the point where I just believe that anyone who genuinely supports the right is either uneducated or they're a grifter who's pretty much forced to support the right for their platform. So
Yeah, but you know who I think set the stage to all this? Rupert Murdoch and Ronald Reagan, right? You think about this. There's like two generations of people who have grown up consuming Fox and its subsidiaries and the Sinclair Group, right? Where they have been feeding these people lies and distrust for two generations of people.
May I
And we have
add?
some of the most
Oh, sorry.
poorly educated people in the red states, and they're kind of like victims, really, but they don't know it. But they get offended when we call them, and they're in a cult. But they're too lazy to get their little Google machine and like Google, cult psychology to see if they fit.
Yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't fit their narrative at all. But H. Rucker, you were about to say something.
Yeah, I was thinking about what their narrative is and the irony that it's weird that Democrats and progressive people are sort of hanging on to something good that we had and we're losing. And usually that's what conservatives think they're doing. And so I was thinking about how their narrative is usually about like I don't want to be invaded by something new. I don't want to lose what I've got. And weirdly, it's almost like we're in the position to say that to them and say, "Do you remember the good old days when democracy still worked?" Like, it's a strange thing that I never thought I would be saying because I'm always for forward movement, but the way we're moving is so bad that it's almost like you can take a conservative position in rhetoric, not you don't want to go back too far, just a couple of years and give us a chance. But like it's weird. It's like it makes me wonder how we can talk to these people in the way that they might like, but would actually serve progressive intentions. And it's just a
Yeah,
random
I
You
mean,
know
thought.
we
what?
do have
No,
to
no,
be.
no, no, no. I push back on
Yeah,
that. I push
Okay.
back on that. I absolutely push back on it. They don't care about us talking to them how they like. Like,
Oh.
and let's be honest. I mean, as someone who talks to Trump supporters every single day, and someone who consumes Trump and how he does things, and I'm telling you, like, listen, if you're out here and you're listening to me and you have fuck it, I'm just gonna give you the advice. If you are out here and you have any type of conflict with the Trump supporter, call them stupid. Just call them stupid, right to their face, flat out. Watch how much they actually start to acquiesce. I don't know if it's a kink or whatever, but I'm telling you, like, I don't know. They whatever. I'm sorry.
I would trust your experience with that much more than mine. That was kind of me grasping at straws.
Yeah, like being nice has gotten us where we are now, and it's something weird where they actually respond. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know.
It's called fighting fire with fire.
It is,
and that's something the Democrats have never done. And you're seeing it too, Santana. You said, "I got a ray of hope." That's how Trump got elected again. Mm-hmm. Well, we had a ray of hope that Harris would win. No, we got to get rid of the ray of hope in the face of all this carnage. And Doge.
I disagree with that.
Yeah, Doge.
I mean, it's one of the reasons that I never joined the Democratic Party, because they would never get in the mud with people who want to wrestle them in the mud, and then use their superior intellect, which I have noticed on the Democratic side, to win in the mud.
Yeah.
I always wanted to do stuff above the fold.
Yeah, I mean, and that goes back to what I was saying earlier. I mean, like a lot of times you see the Democratic Party, they want to hold on to norms so much, and that's an issue, right? Mm-hmm. That's an issue because, again, you're trying to run a quote unquote fair game with someone who's cheating the entire time. Yeah. And it's like it's not gonna line up. But that's what happens when you have that old guard, right? That's why you have, Jasmine Crockett calling Marjorie Taylor Greene bleach blonde, bad built, whatever. Like you see the new ones. That's why you see AOC calling Trump a rapist. Like they understand that you can't keep playing the same silly game that's cost the Democratic Party so much. So it's a whole thing.
Yeah. And that's why they have to let this new group of progressives out front, because they're willing to have the verbal back and forth, and they have the ability to shame them and get them caught up. Well, shame them. They don't have any shame. I'll take that back. But they're willing to get them twisted in knots, and caught up in their own shit. Mm-hmm. And they ought to let these people go.
Do you think that's supporting and sort of championing the new guard of Democrats is the best or one of the best things that you can do?
I do.
Yeah.
Say yes. Just because, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of people who kind of, they don't really vote by party lines necessarily, because there are a lot of people who voted for, say, Trump and AOC for the reason that they feel like both of those candidates appeal specifically to the working class. And so ultimately it's just it's more a messaging issue, because I think the Democrats, I am definitely a Democrat. I voted for Harris. But I think that they have a major messaging issue. And I feel like a lot of their messaging isn't tailored for the class that they want to represent. Because, I hate to say it, but ultimately, although it's very important, most Americans don't care so much about abortion rights or transgender rights, or even the fact that America's democracy is kind of eroding into the ground when they pretty much cannot put food on the table. It's just their problems are more localized to themselves, and they see one candidate harping on about abortions, and the other one who's talking about how he wants to lower prices, even if it's an unrealistic plan. Most people don't know that. And so it's the Democrats need to align themselves with the working class better, is what I would say.
No, but they have been. It's just they have been, but I'm not sure people are listening.
I mean, I suppose so, but
I've said this over and over.
No, yeah,
and over.
policy-wise, they definitely have.
The Democratic Party doesn't know how to brag. The Republican Party, and especially Donald Trump, is willing to take credit for things that they shouldn't be taking credit for, and then blame things on people that they shouldn't blame things on. I mean, look at today, Donald Trump is saying that it's Biden's inflation, or as soon as the plane crash occurred outside of D.C., it was a DEI plane crash. But then also you go back to 2017 when Trump had just got in office, and then he declared that the United States had the greatest economy ever because of him. And so the Democratic Party has passed monumental legislation and has done so many great things, but they have no idea how to brag about it. And
No,
that's the
yeah,
problem.
I think that maybe I should clarify my point a little bit. Like policy wise, undoubtedly the Democrats blow the Republicans out of the water. But the overall I would say that when Harris was campaigning, firstly she should have tried to distance herself a little bit more from Biden and kind of present herself as, the new wave of Democrats instead of just an extension of the Biden
I have
administration.
thought that.
That's I'm sorry?
I have thought that, but when you look at what they got accomplished,
Hmm.
I also was saying, well, why would she
But
distance herself
No,
the
because
from
problem the
policy?
I'm
problem
thinking in
is
terms
that
of
even
like
though they
how
they
the
did accomplish so much, no one knew. Like people didn't talk about it enough. So if it
yeah,
was a whole
exactly.
thing, then yeah, I could say that. But I get where he's coming from. I get
Yeah,
it.
so yeah, I was just saying that like,
I
I'm
think if she
operating
had more
within.
time,
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think like just operating within the constraints of the Democratic Party and the fact that they pretty much do not know how to brag. I would say that Harris should have, you know, broken from Biden a little bit more and charted like, a new path forward for the Democrats. As like people are starting to say that now, post-election, that the Democrats need to, you know, come out of the ashes as like a completely brand new like party with completely new people, messengers. Anyone tied to the Biden administration is just dead in the water. Like, if Walz makes a run for the presidency, he's fucked pretty much.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, um, yeah, yeah, I was going somewhere with that, but I kind
Yeah,
of lost
well,
track.
you're onto something. All of you guys are onto something with like it with the value of novelty and disruption, not in a painful way like we're seeing right now, but the value of novelty. And I think that pitching it as it's new, it's disruptive to the billionaire class, treating the billionaire class as the enemy and the old guard, and then speaking of people like AOC, who doesn't get her funding from that group of people, as the new, fresh, disruptive thing, seems like a really promising type of message to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to be that guy, but I really do think that the Democrats need a version of Trump. Because if you think about the way he ran back in 2016, it was all of the things that you just mentioned. He presented, even though he was like a billionaire, he kind of presented himself as a disruption to the status quo. He's not a career politician. He doesn't have any like political or military experience. He's just a complete outsider running to, kind of,
That's not even true. I mean, the Democratic Party, again, messaging. It's not true. Like Donald Trump ran for presidency, in 2000? He's also been a politician, since he's been running the Republican Party for the last 9 years. But for some reason, the Democratic Party didn't know how to capitalize on the message of saying that no, he
that Trump
is
is the
not
establishment.
exactly. So that's the
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. So, I saw someone talk about getting Jon Stewart to run for president. And although it was kind of pitched as a joke, I almost see it because he's pretty unproblematic. He's on the right side of most issues that I've heard him speak on, like, gun control, Palestine, things like that. And it's like he he would eviscerate anyone on a debate stage. Like I don't know if you've seen that clip of him talking with that Republican guy about gun control.
Pew
But
pew.
yeah,
it was just a
Pew pew.
master class.
Pew pew.
And
masterclass.
yeah, and I don't think he has any
Hey, hey,
interest
hey.
in running
TikTok,
for president.
TikTok friendly language. Pew pew.
Oh,
You
oh,
think
sorry about
about
that.
Bernie being the Trump version of Trump, the
I mean, one thing I
Bernie.
give Bernie is he's been consistent for decades.
I like him, but he comes across as being involved in politics for so long. Do you think that removes the sense of freshness? Even though I really like Bernie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
the age is
No,
the
that's where
thing,
people like
but
AOC come in because
yeah.
she's on the same kind of train he's on.
But again, you have people like Bernie, people like AOC, who should have a bigger voice. But you talk about the establishment, and you talk about, the Nancy Pelosi's and the Chuck Schumers, and I honestly, I'm not even as fond of Hakeem Jeffries, but like, you see so many of these other established Democratic leaders who want to hold on to their power so much that they won't give an opportunity for the new people to grow. Let's do this because Claudia hasn't had a chance to speak, so I want to come to Claudia. I want to also come to Omega, and also KP has been quiet for a while. So Claudia, the floor is yours. What would you like to add?
No, I'm actually just here. I'm interested in having a conversation with somebody that voted for Trump and the reasoning behind that. I'm trying to have an understanding. The people that I can reach um, that voted for Trump, I'm afraid that having these conversations will turn into me losing respect for them and um, losing those relationships. And
Oh, yeah, I
I've
feel
just
you.
I've been unsuccessful in really lovingly like being able to grasp their their support. So
One of the things that I found that kind of frustrated me is, I'm a 23-year veteran, and I worked in corporate world for a little while, and I know how to meet people where they are. And what has been frustrating to me is even when you try to meet them where they are, avoid the big words, let them speak, acknowledge what they say. They the TikTok ones, for the most part, are non-responsive. It's like they have a smooth brain. Like you chuck a nickel at it and it bounces off. They do not absorb information, and that's why I go. When I talked about, you could hear the cognitive dissonance setting off in their heads, and they still stick to their bumper sticker talking points. They don't know enough about anything to hold a intellectual conversation about it, no
Well, I
matter
mean,
how
they
much
hold
you
on to
dumb it
it
their
down.
shocks
feelings.
me. It
Hmm.
shocks me from people that are at the same educational level as myself to kind of understand like we're it isn't like an inability to understand these concepts. I
It's frustrating. What happened? And one of the things that I used to start off with was, these guys, particularly the men, because they can get out of hand, right? And I'll say, well, look, let's try and get in the same book, because they would always say things like, we all need to come together, blah blah
Yeah,
blah, right?
right.
So I would say, okay, so let's try this. So I always tell them we don't have to be on the same page, but we need to be in the same book. Would you agree? They say yes. So I would ask them a question like, well, okay, if you had to define what objective truth is, can you picture that and tell me what you think that is? And they would tell me something. I would say something like, well, that's close. And I would tell them, well, it's the truth that exists is in data, statistics, studies. It's stuff that exists that we can go look up and that exists outside of what we feel about it. Would you agree? They would say yes. And I would say, okay, what do you think observable reality is? They would say something blah blah blah. I'll say, okay, well that's close. And I'll say, well, it's similar to what we said before. It's the reality that exists outside of what we feel about it. Right? So if we can do those things, we can get in the same book. And throughout the conversation, anything that you would ask them to try to like guide a conversation, are you trying to ask me a gotcha question? No, dude, I'm trying to talk to you. And they would crash out. So I don't know. I mean, I sat in many TikToks on the run up to the election that are very well run, with knowledgeable people, people with second devices who pull up charts and go to the EIA website and show them things, and they would still stick with it. So I don't know. I don't really know where we are. Well, it's like you said earlier, we're in the upside down.
Yeah. So sorry. I hope I'm not interrupting, but
Yeah,
I wanted to ask,
hold on
like,
one second. Hold on one second.
oh, sorry.
I want to show you guys something.
Oh,
What the fuck?
fucking ugly ass Cybertrucks. Jeez.
That's so
Yeah. No, I'm
bad.
from I'm from Austin, and so I see these things all over the place. It's awful. It's actually the worst.
What are
Terrifying.
we doing, right? I mean, you're talking about the person that's supposed to be in charge of government efficiency, yet you're not targeting where our budget is bloated the most, where he happens to get a vast majority of his revenue from. He's gotten billions of dollars in government contracts, and now the actual government is purchasing $400 million worth of Cybertrucks.
For
Like,
what?
like you can't even
What are
make
they
this
even going
up.
to be used
Smallest
for?
motherfucking.
I think it goes to what Darnell said, is that you can show people
Thank
the
you for the gifted
facts.
subs over on Twitch. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Who is this? Who is this? Oh, not a real leftist. Thank you for the gifted subs over on Twitch. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to agree with something Darnell said, was that you can present people all kinds of facts. Like, you could show them the chart the New York Times made and put out this week about all of the conflicts of interest Elon has in his role. And then you could show a MAGA person that news story and they'd find a way to explain why it's okay. And so I don't know. I think, though, when getting back to the how do you engage with them and what's the right way to do it? Do you just say you're an idiot? Do you try to engage with them like kindly? It probably doesn't work. I was just remembering something that one of the other Democrat guys on who has a live stream, Will Westmoreland, the rural Democrat guy,
Yes.
he likes to say to them, like, I don't need you to tell me you're wrong, but I hope you can acknowledge that you were lied to.
Right.
I don't know about that one, but he says it an awful lot. I'm not sure if it works.
But some of them don't care that they were lied to.
Yeah.
They don't care about a whole lot of things.
Well, I mean, the
It's
thing
just
is that when you live in a constant state of untruth, then lies don't matter, right? When you're willing to pivot and make any and everything acceptable, when 1 minute you're saying, Project 2025 is not a thing, to, oh, well, I actually like Project 2025. When you're talking about things are too expensive, to, oh, well, it's okay for us to pay a little bit more now. I'm willing to pay more now. Like, the way that you have to actually live in a world where you're willing to change from moment to moment, and even your opinion. I was listening to another live earlier, and a question was asked, and I said, would you vote for someone who released violent criminals back into the United States? And then the person had to say, well, did Trump do it? And they had to stop and check, because if Trump didn't do it, then no, of course they wouldn't. But if Trump did it, then okay, well, yeah, I mean, there's a reason. So
Yeah, I think they have such feelings about this one guy that they will bend any narrative around him. I do think that that's why there is some substance to the idea of picking somebody that Republicans have also checked their box for, like AOC sometimes, and making them the icon that can do no wrong, because some people vote that way and thinking about their icon as their celebrity or something. But knowing we would pick a person for that is worthwhile.
Yeah. I mean, I hate to say it, but I think the next election, if we have one, is going to have to be a man.
you know what? I hate to say it as well, but we've realized how racist and sexist this country is.
Yes.
Because the simple fact of the matter is, and I've said this a million times, if it was Gavin Newsom, that's the White House. If it was, Um, maybe I don't even know if Pete Buttigieg, but the country is just so racist and so sexist, and I don't know if the country is more racist or more sexist. But like, yeah,
Yeah, I had to take after the election. I tried to. I came back on into the lives I normally visit, and I was so pissed off that I couldn't share space with Trump supporters because they were still talking the same old garbage. So I took like 2 months off, and
Yeah, actually, sorry.
I come back and they're still on the same shit, and they won. I don't get it.
Yeah. I'm about to leave to let you guys have more space, but I was going to say one last thing is that after the election, I have trouble sort of looking at the white men around me that I see every day. I have trouble just interacting with them normally because every interaction has this undertone of, was it you? Did you do this to us? Did you choose this asshole? And it's
Let me let
something
me
that, yeah.
let me tell you a story.
Okay.
So so my kids go to predominantly white schools. It's like one black child in the class sometimes, right? So their friends are all white kids, and they've had like birthdays and things since the election. Bowling alley. They rent the bowling alley lanes, and uh, and I could not stand around these people because the husbands, you could tell the husbands were Trump supporters. The wives, I don't know. I couldn't be around the people. We
Yeah.
went to the bowling alley. They went bowling. I went sat at the bar where normally before I used to stand around and talk because the parents of my sons and my daughter's friends. I couldn't be around them. Couldn't do
Yeah.
it.
That sucks, man. As I about to hop down, I thought of one more thing, which is that like I almost feel I'm a white woman, right? And I almost feel like I should, in a way, like apologize to like every black
don't
person I meet.
apologize.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
I
apologizing.
have that guilt feeling because like it took like the overturn of Roe v. Wade for me to become sort of active and really attached
Mm,
to getting political outcomes dealt with just because I'm like, this is something I never thought I would see happen to me. And that just reveals how much privilege, I had before that, at least enough to not have to think about it all the time. And
mhm.
so I'm glad you guys are having these spaces and stuff, but I do think that people who have had the most discrimination leveled against them probably should be the people leading the country at this point because the people who have the privilege not to don't have the empathy.
That's it.
Yeah,
The empathy. Yeah.
right. If you have experienced more of the cultural discrimination, I think black women in particular have experienced some of the greatest amounts of it. I think that means you have the empathy and the experience to know what the people who've had it the worst in society in America have experienced, and you have the empathy to be the type of leader we need. Even though I take your point that it's going to be harder to elect a woman or a black woman after Kamala's situation, but like that's what I would like to see. Anyway, I'll hop down, but thank you guys for the conversation.
Yeah, no, thank
Appreciate
you. I appreciate you. Omega and then D Expressions. I want to make sure I give you guys an opportunity to speak.
Hey, what's up, bro? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm hanging in there, bro. Yeah, but what we're witnessing is it's not. I'm trying to sum up everything that I've heard, but like what we're witnessing is how they say to go moving the goalposts forward. We're witnessing people moving the goalposts backwards because they don't want to accept that everything he said
Mm,
was a lie. And
mm,
and the fact is that people are so invested in this man that there is nothing that he can do until it arrives wrong until it comes to their doorstep, and that's just the reality of the situation. Um,
that's right.
we're gonna have to hang in there until the people get fed up and revolt. I don't think it will come to the point where Darnell said where he's going to have another term because by the time he's done, the people are going to be fed up. So I mean, I hold on to that belief
Yeah,
that
I think the midterms are going to be crucial because by that time
most definitely.
people are going to be hurting by the
Yeah, I
midterm.
mean, yeah, it's people's gonna be hurt. I mean, there's people in my family that are going to hurt under some of his policies. I mean, and I mean, Santana knows I've been trying to go into business myself. I just told bro a couple weeks ago that I had gotten investors for my food truck. This is going to hurt my business. So I mean, like, the food prices are going to go. I mean, I'm already looking at food prices to stock the food truck, and stuff has already went up. So, it's like, I mean, it's going to hurt everybody all the way around. I mean, don't get it twisted, but yeah, I mean, we're gonna I mean, if we can make it through all to the midterms, I think that will be a turning point where we can show people that it wasn't a mandate election because, like you said, there's a lot of people that are still Trump supporters that are still angry, and I'm like, you won. I mean, but when you said that, Darnell, when they won in theory. Their candidate won, but in reality, we all lost.
That's right.
We all lost. I mean, and yo, we're just gonna feel it. I mean, but what I was trying to come up earlier when the other old boy was on before you restarted.
I tried to grab you, but every time I went to grab you, you were gone. Like you kept
Yeah,
popping in
TikTok.
and out.
Yeah, I mean, it's been acting weird on me, bro. It's been TikTok has been acting weird on me. But yeah, he had said something mistrust, like just talking on Texas alone, like the AI thing. That's not that's actually not a thing that's happening here. Actually, the Bank of America said that and the Texas.gov has said that there hasn't been there's only been like a 2% bump in AI jobs here in Texas, which has not been significant growth. They're not seeing any growth here. I mean, true, Musk is trying to move his the Tesla and all that in X down here, but it's not nothing that's going to um, make a major difference down here. What's going to make a major difference is the casinos moving down here. That's what. But yeah, I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember everything that was going on because I was just sitting silent. But
You're good.
yeah.
W's in the chat for H. Ruckers. Thank you so much for the $5 donation, saying thanks. Keep hosting these conversations. Got some good information from you on this one tonight. Thank you for coming in and actually hanging out with us, and thank you for that $5 donation. D Expressions. I want to make sure you get an opportunity to speak.
Hey guys, how you doing? I hope everybody's having a wonderful day, and God bless you all. I know, I know we have a lot of tension against us, and I know things just haven't changed, regardless they want or not. But I think in reality, we can pretty much say this government, we are screwed, and we can pretty much say that things are not going in any direction but down. I would hope for the best from it, and I could tell you a lot of positive views and give you a lot of positive vibes out there, but there's nothing positive to say about it because no one can change the way these a-holes out here are working. I'm I'm a little disturbed because it's like Darnell says, it doesn't matter what we do or how we do it. They even won. They even got the leadership of all this stuff that's going on right now. They still not going to be happy. Sometimes some people are just not happy no matter what you do. You can give them millions and billions of dollars. They're still not happy. So you just got that in this world. And there's a lot of hate in this world. Do that, my man Darnell serve. I serve. I mean, he done 23 years, Darnell. I done 20 in the U.S. Army. and we know how wars can be we know how wars can advance. We know how tension can get high. We know how with one shot could cause two countries to fight each other for years and decades. And we know how the wrong thing said at the wrong time by the wrong politician can cause the worst disaster ever and lots of lives. So me and him, we understand. And for you guys that don't understand, the things that they're doing, this is not, I know they call it a coup. That's the problem with America. We don't really know what goes on. Like me and Darnell, we know what goes on out there because we've been out there. They don't call this a coup. We can't really talk about it, but they don't call this a coup. This is all methods and procedures on how you can break down a country to a level, I'm just going to say it like that, to a level where they can actually be controlling of all aspects that could come against them.
Yes.
Them buying up, I'm going to stress this, I'm not going to say a lot of details because they signed these forms, and Donnell know the forms that required us not to discuss anything that significantly about anything. But we can't talk about anything. But I haven't even married my own wife and kid. It's sad, but I can't speak about anything. They don't know half the stuff about me. but I've been married 20 years with them now, so I'm 56. So I went out right after high school. I don't know. Donnell probably did too, because that's what we thought we needed to do to help a country
61.
that don't want to help themselves, Donnell. but we know that situation going on right now is a method and procedure which breaks down a country where they can control all aspects of the country to eliminate anyone that can actually come against what their decisions that they make. And after that, then drain the money as much as they can to complicate where the only person you depend on is that one individual that owns every access to every bit of funds. Buying these trucks, there's always another concept behind the concept, another plan behind the plan. Buying those trucks, hey, what are you gonna do with it? That I saw your video, that little video showing. I go, yeah, of course, $100-some million, of course. Imagine where that money went. It didn't go in those trucks. Trust me. You got to always remember, guys, you have to account for every dime that you spent in the government. It has to go somewhere. And you got a person like this guy, Elon Musk, that have a great business, a great big business. It ain't that great to me, but everybody loves it. But keep loving it. You'll see what you love about it eventually. But everybody, you investing in this company because this company is always something as a cover up. I'm just saying that it's always a cover up to every situation that they do, every dime that they spend. So I think in reality, guys, we need to keep our eyes open. We need to focus on the objective of what's going on out here. We need to get our eyes focused on the fact of there is something going on behind the whole mission. I know. And I got an idea, but I can't talk about it. But you guys need
and
to
the
keep your eyes
thing is
focused.
that I don't really like to speculate on stuff, especially. I mean, it sounds like you might know some stuff, and we don't want to overshare. The one thing that I will say though is I do subscribe to the fact that like whether it's a actual payment for trucks that actually get delivered or trucks that don't get delivered, like regardless, it's unacceptable. Like that's unacceptable. Like plain and simple, it's very unacceptable.
Totally.
I mean, because you talk about again, you have someone who's supposed to be leading a department that's supposed to eliminate wasteful government spending, but then you
That's
have
wasteful.
exactly. Listen, guys, I want to wrap it around because we're gonna end a little early tonight. But I want to say, guys, W's in the chat for Sonya. Sonya sent a $1 donation, and Sonya shared a link for something called the Global Gag Rule Fact Sheet. It's about reproductive rights. So I'm definitely gonna put that in I'm gonna put that in the Discord. Thank you so much for sharing that, Sonya. I really appreciate that information and also the donation. Um, BVD or DBB. I want to come back to you for a moment and make sure you get another opportunity to speak before we start to wrap things down, wind things down.
Hey, yeah. So actually, I didn't want to really derail the conversation, but I wanted to ask. So I know that the expression and Darnell, you both are veterans, and I was just wondering like what you guys think about the fact that the Republican Party has kind of started to monopolize patriotic expression because obviously, I'm sure you guys both love our country every bit as much as like any Republican can claim to.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering like what you guys' takes are on like,
Well,
how to kind of make it so that, Republicans don't have this like monopoly on
yeah,
patriotism.
yeah. I mean, it's hard to uh, to like break through um, people who have been propagandized. I mentioned earlier about 2 generations of people who've been fed this bullshit, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
And their distrust, right, is so great because they've been fed this stuff. I'm not sure how to do it
Groups.
because, as we talked earlier, it doesn't matter how you say it. You try to meet them where they are, try to get in the same book with them, or have them get in the same book with you. It's like it is cult mentality. If you Google cult mentality, it you'll read MAGA, and they
And,
control Republican Party right now. And
and
this fake patriotism, right, that I see, it's all fake. It's like propaganda,
mhm.
and they have monopolized it, but they don't respect it, right? We had a conversation with a guy some time ago. He was talking about peace through strength, and I was like, "Do you understand what that means?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "We we walk softly and we carry a big stick, so people don't want to mess with us. But we have to be willing to use the stick.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's about. So when they get to talk about no new wars, whatever, we are willing in our interest to engage in military operations. And the president has been given those powers. He don't have to go to Congress to like do a special operation somewhere to knock somebody off or disrupt some other country. He could do whatever he wanted to do.
And that's what I was saying too. I'm with you, Donnell. That's why I was saying about groups. You need to gather groups. You need to organize with people that you know that you can trust, and you need to gather communities. You need to gather. I can keep going on, guys. It's so many ways that we can actually organize ourselves within the country and actually fight against this situation. We need to get these communities together. You really find all your fans and friends that you know that's got a positive view on things and see the light like you see it, and you need to gather those groups together. You guys need to form one big organization where you can actually fight against this situation. And don't be afraid to engage, because they don't expect you to engage. They don't expect you to be willing to take forth a conversation that they don't want you to discuss. Do it. Show them that down there know what I'm talking about. I'm saying it
Yeah,
in a way where I'm trying not to be like I'm on my man platform. I'm loving Santana and not going to say anything that causes this platform to be shut down. And
Yeah,
he knows
well,
how I am.
I mean,
I'm very realistic.
I think the thing is though, like you made a good point, and it's something I've been saying over and over and over is it's about community, right?
yes, yes,
Especially no matter what happens, but over these next couple of years, like we have to be willing to take care of each other and like be there for each other, because we know for a simple fact that the government definitely isn't going to do that, and we have a sector of the U.S. population who is actively and willingly harmful to not only others but themselves. And we don't
mhm,
know. I mean, I know we talked about this earlier, but we don't know if or when they're ever going to get to that point where they are, you know, going to see the light. I mean,
yeah,
that's the tough part about all of this. We're expecting these people to come around, but I mean, there's a possibility They just don't, and they just accept
Nope.
what's happening.
Yeah,
Guys,
but check
W's in
this
the
out.
chat for Christina. Christina sent a $5 donation to the nightly goal. Thank you so much, Christina. I appreciate you.
But
Yeah,
check
I
this out.
think at some point, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I think at some point what happened is that conservatives basically saw that the Democrats are kind of they're like shedding light on some of the problems that exist in this country. Things like, systemic racism and other issues, which it's late. I can't think of any besides that one off the top of my head. But basically, what conservatives did is that they look at this and they say, look at that. The Democrats like hate our country because they're pointing out these flaws. But no, in reality, we do that because we love our country and we want it to be better. I think
Yeah.
Republicans are willfully just like ignoring. They're just like invalidating the experience of people who are not themselves. It kind of ties back into like the whole lack of empathy that we were talking about earlier. And it's like they just like invalidate the experiences of others who are not themselves, including like minority groups. And they say, look, America is like, the greatest country in the world. There's nothing wrong with it. And that kind of turns into like almost like a circle jerk within
Yeah,
the
because
conservative movement because it's like, yeah, because nobody is willing to actually shout out the problems that this country faces.
yeah,
Dub,
but see,
don't Dub. You better not. You better not depend on them. Don't depend
yeah,
on your. Don't depend on your party to handle the situation. That's why I say you have to organize. You have to take the initiative. You have to
Yeah,
form
so
your own unit.
yeah,
Go ahead.
so
I will
yeah,
say
I
this.
go to
I will say
college
this.
in I go
Go
to
ahead.
college in Illinois, and
Uh-huh.
I'm in like a Democratic group there. And at some point, we actually rented out some cars and we drove up to Wisconsin and we did some canvassing. Um, Clearly it didn't work out in the end, but it felt good to kind of do my part in that. And you mentioned getting in groups. I am surrounded by a lot of people who, think like me, and I think that's, if we're going to get through this, it's going to be through these groups, as you mentioned.
Yeah, and
And
I'll
with
say,
that, I'm going to drop off because
yeah,
I'm
I
tired.
will say this before we go. Before the election, I would go to the bar and I would talk with Trump supporters. They're easier to talk to in person. It's this TikTok thing that makes people, buck up when they wouldn't in your face, and you can like say, well, actually, man, that's not true. Let me show you. And they're
I
like,
know they're
oh,
scared in front of you. I
yeah,
know.
because you're right in front of them. You know what I mean? I lived in like a all white area in Lexington, South Carolina.
What?
So I'd be
Darnell.
the yeah.
Well, hold on. Was it Red Bank?
Batesburg
You were in Batesburg. You were out in the boonies.
and the boonies.
I was behind White Knoll.
Okay,
Okay.
but
You
I
guys
had
are
a
right in the middle of them.
yeah, I had a house built out there. I had a good deal on the land. I bought the house. I had the house built, but I had a condo in Columbia, and so I would go back and forth between the two. But I would go to the bars out that way. Just drop in. And talk with them. Well, you must be a Democrat. No, I've been a independent for 43 years. What the fuck you talking about? And I was just engaged in the conversation because I'm easy to talk to. And I was surprised at the head scratching that would go on when I was like, look, man, you got all the information in the palm of your hand. Speaking of that, I'm gonna tell y'all about this AI.
And guys, just a FYI, we
This
are at
AI
the end
app
of
is
the rope, so
called.
we gotta do our closings. But go ahead and we're gonna pass around for
Okay.
last words. But go
Right.
right ahead.
Sorry, real
Yeah.
quick.
So
I'm just gonna drop. Thank you, Santana, for hosting this. I think this
yeah,
conversation was really interesting.
Absolutely.
yeah,
Thank you
we
for
have some
joining
fun.
us. I appreciate you.
So
Yeah.
there's this AI app. It's called Perplexity. Perplexity, and you can ask it the most random stuff, and it will search around the internet, cite its sources, and give you an answer.
Mm.
So I have been sharing that with them.
Perplexity.
Perplexity. Yeah. So I get them to say, so just ask it the most random stuff. Is DEI beneficial to companies, and it'll search around the internet and give you an answer, and you'll find out that DEI is good. And by the way, is DEIA. You know. So yeah, but yeah, man, I really appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Enjoy my time here.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, thank you for coming up. I appreciate everything that you added to the panel. You are more than welcome back. So,
Yeah, I'll try and catch you again.
absolutely. Have a good one.
All right, good night, everybody.
D Expressions, last words for you.
Hey, yeah, Santana. Hey, man, I appreciate your platform, man. I love the platform.
Thank you.
I sneak in when you least expect it sometime because, I like to listen to the guys just talk and see how the good knowledge that people are talking up here. But,
Mm-hmm.
I always jump in. I only jump in on the platform when I feel like it's something I needed to explain more thorough. But in reality, I just want to say, people, keep your head up. Keep focusing on your community. Keep your gatherness, and always remember, never be afraid to send letters and talk to somebody and have your friends together. All you get together as one joint community. Form a union, because that union is the key to having anything done, because you can't rely on the parties, because I've been serving these governors and presidents and these senators and all defense, and I know you can't depend on that. You got to depend on you, because you are the power that can change everything. And that's all
Absolutely.
I got to say. Be safe out there, Santana, and God bless
Absolutely.
you,
You as
man. God
well.
bless everybody.
Absolutely. You as well. Thank you. Have a good one. Omega, what do you have to say to the people?
I was gonna echo his sentiments. It all comes down to the whole reason why we're in this situation that we are now is value. People felt like they weren't valued, and
Mm-hmm.
and it echoed, even though their feelings were very ghost and transparent and not real. It was just a figment of the imagination. People didn't feel valued, and that's when you feel valued, you should feel seen. I
Yeah.
mean, white men didn't feel seen, and black men didn't feel seen, and it's everybody wants to be seen, everybody wants to be heard, even down to Christian evangelistic people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure.
So,
For sure.
so,
I think that's a whole thing. I think at the end of the day, when people feel like they don't have a voice, they turn to someone who excuse me, they turn to someone who they feel like will give them a voice. So absolutely.
yeah, yeah. But like, I just want to echo what bro just said just a minute ago. Yeah, just keep your community close. I mean, like, that's the only way that we're gonna lean through these hard times. I mean, keep making your voice heard, because I think for a lot of people, there's so much coming out every day that it gets tiring. It gets tiring for real. I mean, like, I'm like, what is I wake up now thinking, like, what is going to be new today? What is the kind of shit that he's going to start today? So, I mean, I think being selective about what information that you're retaining and putting out there is key to not get fatigued, because we have to stay vigilant.
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
other than that, keep your head on the swivel and keep
Always.
pushing. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I
All right.
appreciate you,
Thank
my
you,
brother.
bro.
You have a good night.
All right.
Guys, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for hanging out and having some really good conversations. I really appreciate everybody, guys. We will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do some sparring, some debates. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm going to be doing something super interesting. I'm going to be streaming the new Elden Ring game. It's going to be some kind of weird times. So if you see me on, stop in. If you're interested, if you're a gamer and you want to see what the new Elden Ring game looks like, just go ahead and stop by. But I'll be streaming on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, specifically doing Elden Ring. So tomorrow we will spar, and yeah, no more sparring for the rest of the weekend. Anyway, thank you guys for being here. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And as always, peace.